So now I want to take a look at the notion of role-based security for our website. And if we consider our website might have three different roles in it. We might have an administrator role, and they're kind of in charge of everything. They can do everything. We might have a sales role, and they're only for only people that should be allowed into those files and those folders are the salespeople. And then we might have like a customer's role, or it could be an IT role or something else. And so we want to have this individual functionality. So the easiest way to start with the role-based security is to figure out what roles you're going to need. And I'm going to need an admin role, so I've created a new folder called admin. And I'm going to have a sales role, so I'll create one called sales. And I'm going to create one called customer. So if you're a customer, I'm going to add a new form. This is your web page. So if you're a customer, we want you to authenticate into the customer folder, and then we want to display this page that's in here. So I can add just some detail here real quick to make sure that I'm on the customer page. I'll create one for sales. And I'll create one for admin. And then I'll just create a general. So now if the user comes to our website, this is the page that'll load. If they're an administrator, we want them to be able to get into the admin folder. And then this is their page, the default page in the admin folder. Sales. This is the default page in the sales folder, and customer. That's the default page in the customer page, the folder. Now we want to lock this down so that only the salespeople and the administrators can get into the sales folder. Customers, sales, and administrators can get into the customer folder. And administrators are the only ones that can get into the admin folder. So we want to do this through the notion of roles. We're going to create these three different roles, and then we can add users to those roles and then have them authenticate in. This page right here at the root that everybody can see, we want to leave this open for unauthenticated users. So even if you don't have a username and password, you can still come and view this site. Then once you enter a username and password, based on your security, you can get into one of these three folders. So to get started with that, we're going to website, the ASP.NET configuration. We're going to click on security. And the first thing we need to do is select our authentication type. So we have two types. We have from a local network, and from a local network we'll use your Windows username and password. It's not the best way. It will not work from the internet, and it's probably not the best way internally. So we're going to choose this, from the internet. And from the internet we'll use a forms-based security that will require you to enter a username and password. So make sure you choose from the internet and click done. We want to enable roles next. You can see we have no roles, so let's create roles. We want to add, I like to do my roles with an R so that I know they're a role, so let's create a customer role. Admin role, and we need a sales. Okay, I have the 3 roles created. I can go back. Now I need to create users. And I am just doing sample, just tests here, so I'm creating my name with the role behind it. Set the password for it. Email, you need to probably set that to a valid email to sort of a real system. And then the security question, this is if the user needs to retrieve or reset their password, what's the security question they can ask? I need to check which role or roles the user belongs to, and then create the user. There we go. That one went. And then I need to create the last one. Now keep in mind I'm using very insecure passwords. I'm using insecure security questions and whatnot. These are just samples. These are just tests to get this up and running. Okay, I have 3 users, and each one of those users is in a different role. I have 3 roles. Okay, I'm done with that. I can close this out. And if I refresh the folder, I have a new folder in here called App Data, and it contains an ASP.NET database. If I double click it, it opens it up in the Database Explorer, and now I can see there are tables. I can see there are several tables that start out ASP.NET _. These tables are automatically created when you go into the website and you clicked on the security from the internet. It automatically creates these tables for you. And one of the tables is the users table. So if I look at the data, I can see there are my 3 users. And if I look at the roles table, I can see I've got my 3 roles. Now you probably do not want to be messing in these tables. You do not want to add users this way or anything. If you need to add a new user, if you need to add a new role, go back to website ASP.NET configuration and go that direction. Alright, so now that I have my users and they're in roles, I can come back to Solution Explorer and begin to secure this. So the first thing that I want to do is get into the admin folder. I want to secure it first. I want to add a new item. I'm going to secure it using the web config files. And web config is just fine. So I have a new web config file in this admin folder. And right now it's blank. I am taking advantage of cutting and pasting to make things go a little quicker. And inside of the system web tags, so here's my system web open, system web close. So within there, I want to have authorization open and authorization close. And within authorization, I'm going to deny and allow. So the first thing I'm going to do is allow the roles r_admin. That's my admin role. So if you come to this, if the server comes to the admin folder, it'll see there's a web config, it'll parse that, it'll look under the authorization, allow roles are admin. Is this user a member of the admin role? If they are, it'll let them in. If they're not, they'll get denied. Next thing I want to put in there is this deny roles. I want to specifically deny the salespeople and the customers from getting into this admin folder. The other thing I want to specifically deny is a user, and the users with a question mark are unauthenticated users. That means they have not entered a username and password. So it's just any random person from the web. Okay, I have this set. I can save it. I'm actually going to copy and paste. It'll make this go quicker. Now I need to get into the customer. Add a new web config file. I'm going to get here in between system web. And now I want to allow, in the customer folder, I want to allow the admin, I want to allow sales, and I want to allow the customer. I actually am going to allow everyone in there so I can remove that. But I still want to deny unauthenticated users. So if you have not entered a correct username and password, I want you to be denied. And then the last thing is the sales. And inside of sales, I want to allow the administrators, and I want to allow the sales. I want to deny customers. I do not want them to get in. And I want to deny unauthenticated users. The next thing I need to provide is a way to log in. So I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to call it login, and this is where I'm going to put my login files. And a web form. I'm going to switch to design view. I'm in the login page. Open my toolbox. I'm going to get into the login toolbox. And I'm going to drop a login control. Okay, so I've entered my username and password. It logged me in, and now I'm just sitting here. So can I get into the admin folder? I should get denied. I am getting denied. Can I get into the sales folder? I can get into the sales folder. And can I get into the customers folder? I should be able to do that. I can. So I still have some functionality issues here. I need to make things work a little bit smoother. The first thing I'll address is if I come to a page that I don't have enough permissions to get in, instead of just getting this error, I would like to be redirected back to that login page so I can get logged in. So let me correct that. So I'm going to go to the root web config file here. I'm within System Manager. We've got Role Manager enabled. Authentication is mode is forms. Here, authentication mode is open and closed. I'm going to, now it's an open tag. And if you're trying to authenticate into Mode Forms, where do you go to get logged in? You go to the login folder, default.aspx. Okay, so now if I am trying to get into one of these folders that I do not have permissions to be in, the website should automatically redirect me to the login page so that I can get logged in. So let's see if it does. It does. And then after I'm logged in, it redirects me to the page I was trying to go to. I can get into admin, so that works. I can get into sales because I should be able to. I'm trying to get into the customer page. Again, it's denying on an unauthenticated user, so it's prompting me. And now I can get into the customer page. If I try to get into something that I don't have permissions to, like the admin folder, it prompts me to enter an admin level password. Now the one last thing I want to do, if I'm looking at the view in browser, when I go to the login page, it just sits there and I have to click into the username. I want the box to already be there, so I'm going to add the little bit of code necessary to make that work. So I'm going to go to the login page. I'm going to get into the code behind. Get in the middle of the subroutine here. So basically what's happening is when the page loads, so my page event would be page event, page loads. Then I want the login one to have focus. And if I look at the login one, that is what this is called. So that object is called login one, and I want it to have focus. And I've just put a little comment in there to remind myself what I'm doing. So I can save this. Now, when I view this in the browser, I want to go to the customer site. And it's right there and ready for me to start typing. So this is an overview of using role-based security with ASP.NET. Getting the roles configured using web config to allow and deny people into those different folders. And then if there were administrative things that I needed to do, I could put those files in here. So for example, adding new things to a database, we don't want everyone to be able to do that. So I might have just those features available here in the admin or available in the available in the sales. And then the customer may be able to search material, and they may be able to see pricing and things like that. So the information returned to the customer might be a little bit different than the information we would have for an unauthenticated user. So you can figure out who needs to see what, who has what functionality, break it up into the roles, and add the users in. As we get more secure and more comfortable with ASP.NET, and as we move on to our bigger project, we'll look at how we can actually add those users through a web interface and different things like that. Right now, I need to check out my Git status. Lots of things going on in there. It's probably going to be easier to git add dot, just add everything recursively. Oh, the database, notice here, ASP.NET, permission denied, so the database is locked open. So I'm going to go ahead and close Visual Web Developer just so it releases all those files. So I saved all my work. I've closed it. Now let me try to. Okay, everything's been added. I forgot my M. Okay. And here's all my new folders and all my new files within those folders.